Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, and we're going to get into it. My wild predictions for the first ever true and honest college football playoff. It's here and it starts tomorrow. I'm excited. We're going to talk about it because it's on everybody's mind, and I'm going to put my 2 cents in. The teams highlighted in yellow here have a bye. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It should have never happened. You see Clemson is ranked 13th. They're in over Alabama, who's not even in, who's technically ranked 11th at the last part. You got 5 teams who don't get a bye that are supposedly better than 2 teams below them that do get a bye. The point is, I'm fine with teams getting auto bid for winning their conference and getting in, but the auto seeds format that they had for this year is absolutely ridiculous, and it needs to be redrawn. Another problem with this auto seed situation was by losing the Big Ten championship, Penn State has a cakewalk to the semifinal. Yes, they have to play an extra game, but they get a host SMU in probably 30 degrees in Pennsylvania. They're going to win that game easily. And then they're going to play Boise State, which we'll talk about what I think will happen in that game. But by winning the Big Ten, Oregon is rewarded with a bye and then has to face arguably one of the next best teams in the whole thing in the second round. So the bottom line is this. These were the people that were in charge of setting up for the format, and they need to be taken care of. They need to be taken care of, or they need to take care of it, or we need to figure this out, okay? Where are the checks and balances? How did none of these 13 individuals step up and say, wait a second, the way that this is set up, the 6th seed could actually have an easier path than the 1 seed. Should we really reward Boise State for winning their conference with a bye when other schools have to play significantly harder schedules? Should we maybe do something about that? It's become very obvious now that moving forward, they will do something about that. So am I in favor of the college football expansion? Yes, absolutely. But is the current format in any way, shape, or form good? No. But I'm still going to pick anyway. So here we go. Let's talk about it. This in no way is gambling or betting advice. Please know that. We'll go through each of these games one by one in chronological order, or the order in which they occur on the television screen. Notre Dame and IU plays tomorrow. And, what more could you want in the Midwest than 2 teams from the Midwest, from the same state, playing each other? I think Notre Dame wins this easily, and that is why I've put my face in the green confidence meter down here. I think they're going to be too much. I think they're going to run all over them. We saw Indiana face high-caliber teams once. Correct me if I'm wrong, feel free, but Ohio State kind of manhandled them, and I think it's going to be similar. So give Notre Dame a week, 2 weeks to prepare for this team. I think it's just a roster situation that is going to rear its ugly head for the Hoosiers. Great season, taking nothing away from them, but I think this is a bad draw for the first game. So give me Notre Dame, and give me Notre Dame pretty big. The next game will be on Saturday at noon. I'll take Penn State as well. They're going to be at home. It's a tough place to play. It's a tough place to play, especially in the winter. SMU is typically a higher flying offense, and I just don't think that bodes well for them in this matchup against a good defense and against a good defense in bad elements. So Penn State, I think, should win this easily. I've given it a green confidence meter. The next game is 8 p.m. on Saturday, and it's Ohio State and Tennessee, and this is the one that I am least confident in of the first round. I'm worried about Ohio State in this game. I think there are 2 things that kind of push me over the edge and eventually lead me to the Ohio State side. 3 things. First is the home field advantage. I think that's going to be huge in a night game. That's a key piece of this. 2 is Ryan Day is playing for his life, and I think mixed with that, there are people on this team, in this organization, who are sick and tired of falling short. And I don't know if that's more pressure, which could hurt them, or more motivation, which could help them. We will find out. I'm going to give them one last chance. And I did that with the Jets at the beginning of the season. I did that with the Cowboys at the beginning of the season, and it came back to bite me. So I may just be a complete and utter moron, but I'm going to give Ohio State the chance one more time to say our back's against the wall, so to speak. This program is a loss away from having to kind of restart from the top down, and I mean Ryan Day leaving. I think that's the best move for them if they can't win some games here. So I think that pressure should hopefully turn into motivation. That's number 2. Number 3 is as bad as this sounds, and as much as I don't want to say this, there is something more lucrative and interesting about Ohio State rematching Oregon. So, I'm not going to say the refs are going to skew it. I'm not going to say that it's going to be rigged, but I think if the game is tied at the end of the game and the refs can make a holding call, they will. Okay, I don't love saying it, but I just think that the spectacle of what could be the Rose Bowl Big Ten matchup rematch went down to the wire the first game. I think getting that again, just watch out. Okay, so here would be our quarterfinal matchups, Texas and Arizona. I forgot to talk about Texas in their first game. I'm sorry, they're going to win. So it's against Clemson, and Clemson I don't even think should be in this. So that's why I'm actually not going to include them in this. Texas is going to beat Clemson. It's not going to be close. Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Boise State, Notre Dame, and Georgia. All right, let's talk about these. And here's my first wild prediction. I'm worried about Penn State. Close game against Bowling Green at home. Go on the road to USC, and USC loses that game more than Penn State wins that game, makes some atrocious errors in that game. They lose to Ohio State. They play Minnesota very close, almost lose that game. And they do lose to Oregon, and I was actually impressed with their performance in that game. I thought Oregon would beat them by 10 to 12. It was 8. That is 8, right? Yes. So take that as you will, but as a conglomerate, they got away with more than I think they really should have. And you take 2 of those 3 wins and mark them as losses. They're not even in this tournament. I understand what they have the ability to do, but I am worried that they play a game against SMU. It should be easy, but Boise State gets to sit back and watch. Then the Fiesta Bowl, I believe, will be played in Texas in a dome. Don't correct me on that if I'm wrong. Actually, do correct me on that if I'm wrong. And I think that is good for Boise State. I think Penn State wants low-scoring, ugly games. And I think Boise State has the ability to figure out some things through an extra week of prep to figure out what they can do to beat Penn State. So it's not a confident pick by any means. It's an orange, but I'm going to take Boise State over Penn State on New Year's Eve, 7:30 p.m. Next up, we have Texas and Arizona State. I haven't really been following Arizona State, so again, please don't bet on any of these. I like Texas, though. I think Texas is one of the stronger teams in this, so give me Texas on New Year's Day with a pretty high confidence. I could regret this. I could very much live to regret this. But give me Ohio State in the rematch. I think if they can beat Tennessee, their confidence can flip around. This team has the talent. One of the only 3 or 4 teams that has on paper what it takes to beat Oregon. And I think what is good for a week off for Boise State is actually bad for Oregon. And I think sometimes getting in the motions, like a week off is plenty. Ohio State having to play 1 extra game isn't going to hurt them. And I think having Oregon sit out for that long could actually develop a little rust. Okay. It could oxidize a little bit. I don't know if that's the right chemistry word, but I said it anyway. Give me Ohio State over Oregon in this one. Low confidence though. Notre Dame and Georgia is a tricky one. I'm going to take Notre Dame because I think they're the sneakiest team in this. I know that Georgia is the second or the best team on paper of this. I know, I get it, guys. It's a program that's strong. It's, Stetson Bennett may not even play, but they're back. Like, this is a defense who is probably the most talented, but they've also had some close games this year, right? I just think Notre Dame is going to figure it out. I am worried that Notre Dame is run heavy, and I'm worried that Georgia will be able to stop that. And then can Notre Dame throw to beat Georgia? That worries me a little bit, but I'm going to take Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl to win over Georgia. These would be your semifinal matchups. Texas and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, Boise State and Notre Dame, I can't even say it with a straight face, in the Orange Bowl. So here's what I believe will happen. We're going to take Ohio State. We bought in. If we bought in against Tennessee, let's just buy in against all the teams, right? Let's take Ohio State as far as possible. Give me Ohio State over Texas, because if that victory against Tennessee happens, I think confidence builds. And if they beat Oregon, I think, they don't go into Texas with any fear. Ryan Day is on the top of the world. He's already said 2 quotable things, and the memes are going around on Twitter, okay? We are here, we are ready, and we're going to beat Texas. I say we. I'm not an Ohio State anything, but I bought in. So we, okay? As you can see, my confidence is so far off the meter. It's like negative. And when your confidence is negative, you should probably switch your pick, right? That makes sense. I'm not switching it, though. We're going Ohio State over Texas. And this one's pretty easy. I think after Boise State, they got kind of an emotional letdown. After beating Penn State, nobody expects them to beat Penn State. They beat Penn State. They got to face Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame controls that game, controls it easily, and gets the win. That would be a high confidence bet if these two match up. Now, I want to tell you something that's very interesting about this. Lou Holtz, longtime Notre Dame coach, his birthday's January 6th. Kind of an unfortunate date now, but nobody knew we were going to have an insurrection of the Capitol building when Lou Holtz was born. He's born January 6th. Notre Dame plays January 9th. Okay, so Lou Holtz is going to celebrate his 88th birthday 3 days before Notre Dame, in my prediction, plays in the semifinal game. I think Notre Dame and Ohio State both win. Now, this game is 11 days later. It is on January 20th, and this would be my prediction for the national championship game. Now, before I pick a winner, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make a wild prediction here about what I believe is going to happen. On January 6th, Lou Holtz turns 88. On January 9th, his late birthday present is Notre Dame beats Boise State. And then sometime between January 10th and January 19th, I'm going to predict that Lou Holtz passes away. All right? He's hanging on. I mean, I hate to be the guy that says it. He's hanging on for dear life, literally, okay? People don't live past 88 too often. He doesn't look quite... The point is, he is going to see Notre Dame advance to the championship game. And he's going to pass away before they get to play in it. Now, only one thing can happen. If longtime Notre Dame legend Lou Holtz sees them make it to the championship, but dies just days before, the only thing that can happen is Notre Dame wins. It's the only logical explanation. I don't care if Jeremiah Smith has 4 touchdowns and Will Howard throws for 400 yards and Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson both score twice in the first half. Notre Dame will find a way. Notre Dame will find a way to become your 2024-2025 national championship on the wings of Lou Holtz. That's my prediction. You don't have to like it, but that's what it is. So strap in. Starts tomorrow. I'm excited. Love you. See you next time.